Hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force. And today we're going to be traveling in time. So before we do that, we're going to be leaving my Patreon back in 2023. So got to get a quick shill in before we go. So every video I start off by saying, hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force. You probably just heard it. And in case you weren't sure, this is Blood Force. Blood Force is a comic book I'm creating. It is a celebration / send-up of 90s extreme comics. And the first issue is complete. We're just kind of in limbo while I get the funds together for publication. And if you'd like to speed up that process, what you do, you go to the link in the description that will take you to my Patreon. Subscribe there, because I need your help in order to get this thing over the finish line. And warm fuzzies from helping a comic creator are not all you get by subscribing to my Patreon. You also get access to the entire Blood Force library, which is growing by the week, as well as all these videos and some exclusive content. So subscribe today, and soon we'll all get the Blood Force comics we've been waiting for. So we're going to travel, as I said, back in time. First to January of 2023, when I dropped my Shadowhawk revisit, because that was a pretty good one. You should go watch that again. And then because we've had enough of 2023, we're going to go back even further to, August of 1992, when Shadowhawk #1 dropped. So, here we go, time traveling. Just takes you right back, doesn't it? Yeah, that's beautiful. So, Shadowhawk #1 drops, and most people probably bought Shadowhawk #1. I don't know how many of them were like me and they bought Shadowhawk #2, but I think a lot of them bought this one. And in Shadowhawk #1, you would have come across this. This is how to get a copy of Image Comics #0. So what's Image Comics #0? Well, they explain it's an exclusive publication that's going to have work by Eric Larson, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, and Jim Valentino. Did they say specifically stories? They do. They say stories. Remember that. So you find out that this comic can only be purchased through the mail, and only by buying Brigade #2, Savage Dragon #3, that's the one, Spawn #4, Youngblood #0, Cyberforce #1, Shadowhawk #1, we got that one, we're good on that, and Wildc.a.t.s #2. And then once you get all those, you cut the coupons out of them, because these are required, and you send those along with either $2.50 American, or $2.50 American for addresses in the States, or $5 for addresses out of the States. That would have been me. And you have to get them into Image, and I believe it's the posted date that has to be before December 31st of 1992. And you're like, holy shit, that's so cool. I'm going to get all of them. And that's, I've got to think, the purpose of the gimmick was not only so that everybody would buy a copy of each of these books and try out each of the founders' books, right? But also, given the time, so that everybody would buy two. Which is very cynical and a rather 1992 sort of attitude. Because, the people at the time, they would buy one copy to keep mint in the bag, or maybe 5, who knows. And then another copy that they could cut this out of, so that they could get the exclusive comic book, right? That's probably going to show up at your house bent. So you go, oh my god, I can't wait to buy more! So, September of 1992, Spawn #4 comes out. And you're going, okay, we're right on track here. And then October of 1992, you get Cyberforce #1, and Wildcat.a.t.s #2, and Brigade #2. And, yeah, you gotta buy them all. At least $2 American each. And then November of 1992, you get nothing. Because Savage Dragon and Youngblood #0 haven't come out yet. But in December of 1992, then you get Savage Dragon #3, and Youngblood #0. So just to get that little bit of panic in there. It is a little surprising that it's Savage Dragon. I couldn't quite keep up. When did #2 come out? October. You could have put it in this one. Lame. No. That's still such a cool shot. No, it's in this one. Alright, so finally you get a month to make sure you got everything and send it out and hope to God that it's, been postmarked in time. And assuming you did all that, I couldn't quite. I got 6 of them. I missed out. The one I missed out on was the first one we started with there, Shadowhawk #1, because I didn't find out about this because I wasn't reading Shadowhawk. I'm pretty sure I probably would have found out this in Wildcats. And so got all the rest of these. Savage Dragon #3 we would have had. Brigade #2 we probably would have had for some reason. And then, you know, picked up the other ones where we could. And then Shadowhawk #1 was the last one we didn't have. And I remember going to a comic book store and trying to convince my brother to buy it. Because it was $20. And I think I had the money, but I was buying other comic books. Probably including, like, Youngblood #0 or something, you know. And, yeah, no, my brother decided he wanted to get Superman #75, The Death of Superman. And so, he got that one. He read that. Neither of us were happy at the end of the day. So there you go. Not that we would have been if we'd gotten Shadowhawk #1. I would have been for like a month or so, maybe, until Image #0 finally showed up. But anyway, let's say that you got everything out there. You sent it all off on time, properly posted, properly paid for, all that shit. Maybe 6 months later, they don't give you an exact date, Image #0 shows up on your door. There you go. Isn't that amazing? So here we go. This is a compendium of image stories handcrafted specifically for this volume. Right? Well, what do you think? Does my tone sound like that's probably the case? How about we start with the cover here? First of all, so it was supposed to be, what is it? Yeah. Wildcats, Cyberforce, Youngblood, Savage Dragon, Spawn, Shadowhawk, and then Brigade was the odd man out. But Wetworks is the one on the cover here. So what I think happened there was somebody got the idea, hey, let's do an Image #0. Let's do a jam book. And they went, yeah, that sounds awesome. And they first all jammed on the cover. And then they got somebody's kid brother to ink it. I don't know, that doesn't look particularly good. It almost looks like it's inked at this scale. Like it didn't get shrunk down at all. I don't know. There's some fat lines. It's not Sky Williams anyway, I'll tell you that. But yeah, I imagine that they were able to get everybody together to do the jam piece, including Will Sportatio. And then Will Sportatio, I would imagine, probably couldn't contribute an actual story because of the illness of his sister. That's my guess. So that's probably why that other coupon was in Brigade #2. So what do we got in here anyway? This is summer of '93, at least, because this is not Rob Liefeld's early '93 drawing style. This is post Youngblood #5. So I was kind of mistaken. It wasn't quite Youngblood #5. It was Youngblood #4. It is post Youngblood #4 because Youngblood #4 is the last of the Liefeld tryhard days, when he still got his early Youngblood run energy for the most part. We'll go over this eventually at some point. But this is his original style. This is not the new style that gets introduced with Youngblood #6. New style being like in quotations. But this one here is much more along the lines of what we're looking at. It's a little bit different. And that came out, well, that came out in 1994. So we have to go by the date on here, February of 1993. So sometime after February 1993, this comes out. Which, I mean, that's in line, I guess. But I do think it's a bit later for him to have changed his style this drastically. So how are we starting off here? We're starting off with our Liefeld story that was advertised to us. So this is going to be written and penciled by Rob Liefeld. Couldn't be bothered to ink it himself. That's a shame. because that might have actually been okay. Well, it might have looked better. Instead, this is inked by Art T-Bear. And Art T-Bear doesn't do a great job on Liefeld from what I've seen. And what we're going to get is a troll story. Except not really a story. It's going to be a troll training montage for 5 pages. That was it. Are you not thrilled? While people do voiceover stuff, saying, so what does he do? And they say, well, he's tiny, and he's strong and fast, and he does something, and we don't know anything else about him. And you go, mysterious. And then, yeah, he poses, and he kind of looks like Wolverine. And this is so slapped together, he's not even going to put faces on these guys. So we are quickly realizing that image number 0 is the final assignment for Image Comics, and they didn't do any work on it until the night before. This is completely slapped together. Who does the colors on this? Kiko Taganashi. I think he's one of the Wildc.a.t.s guys that Rob snagged around the time of Youngblood number 6. Yeah, he did color Youngblood number 6. So that explains that, yeah. So not a promising start. Where do we go from here? Well, we go to Jim Lee. Now, that's got to be a little bit better, right? And while it's not Wildcats Jim Lee, because Wildcats has been going, I mean, the 4th issue would have come out already, wrapping up the miniseries. And we don't have any kind of story. That was all we had. You know, this is Jim Lee and Brandon Choi. We're not thinking about like weaving an intricate tapestry for Wildcats. We thought of those first 4 issues. That's it. We do have an idea, though, for this other comic called Stormwatch, which is coming out right around now. So, you know, I mean, if you had bought a bunch of Jim Lee stuff and wanted to buy some stuff that Jim Lee didn't draw, but he helped write. He's not that good at that, but he did do it. His name's on it. Here's some of that stuff that Jim Lee whipped out. I mean, you can see pretty clearly that this is some low-effort Jim Lee stuff. All this stuff here, there's nothing to it. Look at these, the obliques here. That's barely any. That took him seconds to do. And this character is Death Trap, who I guess is going to be a villain for Stormwatch. I haven't reread Stormwatch yet. I imagine eventually we're going to revisit Stormwatch, and I'll have to figure, you know, I'll have to read through some of that. That won't be too bad. It'd be interesting to see some. I think it's Scott Clark does that one. And yeah, so just this Death Trap guy has captured Stormwatch operatives, and that's it. He captured them. This is a weird style choice. I suppose this is somebody. I mean, it must be. You know, that kind of, it's kind of photorealistic, but not really. This feels like understudy stuff. You feel like if Jim Lee was drawing like this, he would at least proportion it properly. This isn't quite properly proportioned. It's strange. We're going low effort on the computer panels. And then this is the team that he's got strung up here. Maybe this is kind of, because he does come back, and his artwork is a little bit of weak sauce. You know what? No, I think that's after his hiatus. I think that's after Wildcats number 8. 5, 6, and 7 does have a bit more effort into it. But yeah, so that was all we got. So now, and that wasn't even the length of the troll story. I guess we got a bit more out of that, theoretically, if you read Stormwatch. You probably did. So now we're going to move on to Todd McFarlane. And that would be interesting because Todd McFarlane is, he's the creative force behind Spawn. So, I mean, this theoretically should be some little pocket story. We know now it's only going to be probably 4 or 5 pages. But, you know, this should be some little nugget of something that's interesting. Maybe. We also know that Todd has a tendency to just kind of bloviate. And he might just do 4 cool-looking pages with edgy, you know, dubbing, essentially. So what? Oh no! How about over here? Oh. Is that not the most disappointing thing you've ever seen? This looks like fan art. So this is... I don't know if this is what Todd looks like when every time he's inked by Dan Panosian. I have to assume not. Or like, who the fuck dropped the ball on these colors? Who's doing the color on this? Terry Fitzgerald. Oh, for Christ's sake. So, Todd's old failed, well, co-failed baseball buddy, from what I understand, who he offered a job in some sort of, just administrative capacity, colored this shit. Presumably with markers. And I think maybe the Freak showed up at some point. Something called the Freak. I don't think it was this. I think maybe he put a bit more thought into it by then. But like, this doesn't look like Todd. You know, Greg Capullo could make something look better than that at this point. I don't know what the fuck Blotch is supposed to be. Sweat? Are you serious? Is that like his joke version of a Youngblood character? And then you get something called Blood, which at least looks like a Todd thing. Like, he inked that one. So he devoted, like an hour to this one. This other shit, he just scribbled off. And nobody knows what to do with a Todd scribble other than Todd. So that's just fucking awful. So let's wash the taste of that out of our mouth with a Savage Dragon something. Alright? It's all been just absolute shit up until this point. So, we know Eric Larson gives a shit about Dragon. Probably a fair bit more than Liefeld or Jim Lee or McFarlane give a shit about their things. Right? So what we're going to get, it's 4 pages. This is right from the end of Dragon number 3. So I can remember it for the title of the book is actually Savage Dragon. That's the one part of time I should be saying Savage Dragon. Anyway. So end of Savage Dragon number 3. Dragon came home after slugging it out with Bedrock and found Debbie here, sitting outside his door. I remembered it that he didn't remember her name, which would have been funny. But her mom kicked her out of the house, and so she asked the Dragon if she can sleep on his couch. And if we recall, every woman on Earth wants to sleep with Savage Dragon. Remember all this stuff. So obviously that's what happened. But Eric Larson has wanted to, he wants to really speed things up and go directly to Dragon is all depressed and has a handlebar mustache. So this 4-page thing is about how they slept together, and now they're like, I don't know, newlywed kind of vibe, where she's all, good morning, honey, and have I told you lately how crazy I am about you? And give me a hug, you big, gorgeous man. So, I assume she was a virgin before this. And, yeah, he tells her to go watch cartoons. And then there's a knock at the door, and she's like, oh man, what if it's my mom? And she gets all mad, and he goes, oh, that's okay, I'm here. And then somebody shoots her in the head, and he goes, oh god, no. And I saw this at the time because I had the original Savage Dragon trade paperback. But, yeah, I mean, if you just jumped from Savage Dragon first series number 3 to Savage Dragon second series number 1, you wouldn't know what the fuck happened. Because all of a sudden, Dragon is like, he's all moody, and, like I said, handlebar mustache. And, you know, so, and they explain, oh no, all that happened in image number 0. And, you know, all of that was 4 pages. So he really kind of wanted to jump the gun there. But he didn't slack off too much on the art. It's a little bit, yeah, just a little bit scribbly, but not too much. And it does have something to do with the comic, like it has story ramifications. So that's something. Most people probably saw it in the trade, but it was here first. There you go. And now we're on to Mark Silvestri. So the best we've gotten so far is from Eric Larson, which is no surprise, and it was still not really what we would have wanted. What I would have wanted, I would think, would be, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 pages of, like, you know, something. If you can't give me a story, give me a cool fight. One of those two things. And we got 4 pages of story. We got 4 bad pinups. 4 pages of Brandon Choi. And 5 pages of pure Liefeld. I mean, that's almost a fight on the troll thing, except that it's a training thing. So, hopes aren't exactly high for Silvestri. What is this? Like, we know. It's right there. You didn't need to do that. Did anything? Nobody else did that shit. Eric Larson does his usual thing. Todd does his usual thing. And what does Jim Lee do? That's a Stormwatch thing. That's not a Silvestri thing. It's not really a Rob thing, but then Troll isn't Youngblood or Brigade or Supreme or whatever. So, what does Mark have for us? In terms of art, it's probably the best stuff in here. He's not going to bother with backgrounds. But they're neat drawings. And this is all just the Stryker character being rebuilt. This is the $6 Million Man opening. All of this, well, I say all of it like there's a ton. There's not. But in case you're wondering, you know, like, why aren't you reading stuff? It doesn't have anything to do with anything. This is all just mood shit. This is how they found me in the jungle. And now they're gonna, like, give me extra arms and make sure I'm super loyal. And it's, yeah, and I'm the Holy Union. And, yeah, and now I'm bigger and I got 3 arms. And some of them are metal. And I'm Stryker. That's everything. I get the feeling this was done before he had any idea what Stryker even was. because there's nothing, like, he doesn't have much of a character in Cyberforce, but whatever the non-character he has in that is, it's not this. But like I said, they're kind of cool. They're cool drawings anyway. You know, Silvestri can fucking draw. This is some weird stuff here. And he's like stealing the Marv eye patch thing, which I believe Jim Lee will do later on, and Eric Larson actually. And he would get further use out of this as an ad. He used that a few times. And finally, we got Shadowhawk. And yeah. So what's the deal? It's the same. Every time he has to do a backup thing, it's the same thing. Shadowhawk perches on a roof, and something shitty happens to somebody. In this case, it's what I assume is a homeless woman and her kid. And somebody comes up and, you know, she goes to fend him off with a knife. He stabs the mom. And then Shadowhawk decides to jump down and break his back. Did he break his back? Yeah, there we go. Crack. But too late. Because, yeah, it sucks to live in Shadowhawk's world. Maybe that's the point. Like, he's just making a world that's so bleak, it would make a character like Shadowhawk, who just goes around breaking people's spines. You know? That could be it. That perspective is a mess. Sorry. I've noted Jim Valentino has some slight problems with perspective before. This guy is supposed to be like all predatory and shit. That's the best Valentino can do for that. And all this stuff is just kind of, yeah, whipped off. This is like the extent of cleverness in a Shadowhawk book is graffiti that says Spawn. Not sure what this Mortal Coil is. That feels like it's a reference to something. Or the Mortal Coil. Yep. That was it. And then you get this ad with artwork that looks better than just about anything in this book. Except maybe the Mark Silvestri thing. And then one of these. And that was it. Can you imagine if I'd sent away for that? That would have been so disappointing. You know? There's like an Art of Homage book. And that has a lot more to it than this thing here. Yeah, I don't think I have that right now, but I think I'm gonna order that, because that's one of these things done right. It's a bunch of pinups. It's about 48 pages. It's all of the artists going in that particular studio at the time. And, yeah, it's, like I said, pinups. It's some sketchbook stuff. There's some story stuff. There's a little how to draw featurette. I should check that out at some point, definitely. And, like, so you compare that to this, you know, like, there's no comparison. This is nothing. This is terrible. I'm just going to leave this here for now. And I mean, like 30 years later, you know, you would have thought they probably wouldn't have printed up a whole bunch of these. You know, definitely not as many as the lowest selling of those 7 books, which is probably Cyberforce, actually, at 750,000. So less than that. So maybe a little bit of actually low availability, like probably only a few 100,000. So it might actually be worth some money these days, right? Nope. $6 American. That's what I got this for. Because who gives a shit? It's not anything worth owning. I mean, it is to me, because I like looking at this shit and going, you fucks. But then I'm just as cynical as they were. So, yeah. Anyway, like I said, it's a cash-in thing. It got people to buy all those comics, and I got them to buy multiple copies. So it did its job. And then after that, didn't matter what the fucking quality of the book was, right? It could be total garbage. Absolutely. It might be good, but it wasn't. It was total garbage. So, that'll do it for this one. Let's go back to the present. Do I play Achy Breaky Heart backwards now? Oh shit, look at it, we're here. What do you play these days? I have no idea. Sorry, I'm old. Anyway, now we're back. None of these people draw anymore anyway, except for Eric Larson. Sometimes. That's about it, right? Yeah. Rob Liefeld does draw occasionally, but not even at this level of dedication. Absolute crap. So welcome back. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, and the notifications so that you'll be notified when another video with notifications gets dropped. Yes. Also go over and follow me on Twitter at Team Blood Force, and you'll be notified when I drop shit there too. But most importantly, go over to my Patreon, subscribe there. That'll help me get Blood Force #1 out on shelves, whether physical or digital. Digital. Some manner of shelf will be Blood Forced. Blood Force should never be used as a verb. Okay, note taken. But yeah, thanks for watching and getting this far. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.